Good morning, everyone. First of all, it's so good to see Mr. Sorensen here. Very good to see you, Gene.
It's wonderful to be back here.
I bet it
Very
is.
nice.
And it's great to see Mr. Mayor's here with a big tan. Good to see him back. I will call this Waupaca County Board of Supervisors adjourned annual session to order on this Tuesday, March 18th. Please press your roll call buttons.
Roll call shows 23 members present.
This meeting and all other meetings are open to the public. Proper notice has been posted and given to the press in accordance with the Wisconsin state statutes, so the citizenry may be aware of time, place, and the agenda of this meeting. And I'm glad Mr. Penny reminded me to say the Pledge of Allegiance this morning and the silent meditation. And when we stand this morning, please remember in our prayers those of the supervisors here that have fought health challenges and are continuing to fight them. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Okay, we need to review and approve the agenda. Clerk Robbins said that she has an item.
Just a little tweaking on the agenda. I did put one in front of your desk there. Under 9B, Chapter 10.08, kind of like we stopped in mid-sentence there, so the correct reading of that should say regulating restaurants, hotels, motels, and tourist rooming houses, bed and breakfast establishments, vending of food facilities, public swimming pools, recreational and educational camps, campgrounds, tattoo and body piercing establishments, and manufactured home parks. And that is an ordinance that we will be making amendments to, but this is how it originally is stated in our code of ordinance right now. Thank you.
We have a motion to approve that said agenda. The motion by Mr. Muck and a second by Mr. Lloyd Mares. Please vote.
Last chance to vote. Motion carries 23-0. Approved.
Likewise, the minutes of the meeting of February 18th, 2014 are in your packet. We need a motion to approve those. It was a motion by Supervisor Jonley and a second by Supervisor Lee Muck. Please vote.
Last chance to vote. Motion carries 23-0.
Okay, and number 7, we have a Code Red presentation. Andy's bringing up his guest, Brian, on a reverse 9/11 mass notification system.
Good morning. I'd like to introduce Brian from Code Red. We're going to give you a little presentation. I can explain a little bit of it now, but I'm not going to. We'll go through the presentation, and if you have any questions, we can take them afterwards. We're not here today to ask for money. We're here to ask for support. We've got some different ideas for funding this reverse 911 system. And we do have a few people's cell phone numbers programmed into our system, and we're going to do a little demonstration as we go through the product here.
Thank you. My name is Brian Choika, and I'm from Emergency Communications Network. And today I'm just going to briefly show you the Code Red mass notification system. And what this service is a way for you guys to be able to communicate emergency information to the public when needed, where you'll be able to send them rapid voice messages to their home phones, cell phones, business phones. You'll be able to send text messages to residents, email messages, social media, if you guys are using any Twitter or Facebook here in the county or cities. So it's a way for you guys to quickly get information to the public for an emergency situation, or even a general bulletin if you just want to get them quick information. This system allows you guys to push information at a very, very high rate of speed. You guys will be able, through the system, to deliver the maximum amount of telephone calls that the local telephone infrastructure here in the county can handle at any given time. And that's usually thousands of calls within minutes that you guys will be able to put out to the community. So if you think of a situation where you have a propane shortage or a water main break where you're letting residents know that they need to now boil water, you'll be able to go into the system, and I'll show you guys how to operate it, but you'll be able to go into the system and identify very quickly who you want to notify and then push that customized message out to the public very quickly. We provide mass notification services to thousands of government agencies throughout the country. Here in Wisconsin, we're currently serving 25 Wisconsin counties, including a number of your surrounding counties who utilize our services for mass notification. Just last week, we added Dunn County here in Wisconsin as our latest customer, and we're going to begin the setup and implementation process with them this week to get them up and running on a fully functional system, get them trained on the system, so now if they have an event within their county, they'll be able to utilize the system anytime they need to. But a little bit of background about the system before we dive in. It's a web-based system, so your users will be able to gain access to the system from any computer with internet access. Home computer, a laptop with an air card, your office computer, a smartphone device. So your emergency management agency, your sheriff's office, any other department that's given access to the system will be able to gain access to it very quickly. And then the infrastructure on the back end of the system, the equipment that's used to send out all of your notifications, that's all owned, operated, maintained, and controlled by us, by Emergency Communications Network. So there's nothing housed on site, there's no equipment to buy, no phone lines to lease. We own everything on the back end, and that's the infrastructure that you guys have access to every single time you need to send out a notification. Now, what I'm going to do is just kind of show you guys a little bit of some examples of what you could use the system for. So really, this is any time that you need to get into the system to disseminate information to the public, you're always going to come to this website and click on the sign-in key. And this is going to give you access to your system where you're going to be able to navigate through the system. And the last time I was here a few months ago, we really went in depth with the system to those department heads and individuals that were at that meeting. But today, for time's sake, I'm just going to kind of give you guys some brief examples and show you what the system looks like and how a notification can be sent. During the setup and implementation process, we're going to customize this box right here, your quick launch box. And we're going to give a lot of examples of what you could use the system for down the road. So we're going to have an example of a county-wide all-call. It doesn't happen often, but you might have an emergency where you need to notify everybody in the county. We're going to have that option here in your drop-down. And you see we have options here for every city or town within the county. If you need to send a notification out to Fremont, you'll be able to click here very quickly, select Fremont as your audience, record your message, and send that notification out. We could have flood zones loaded into the system, geographic zones that you guys might have to notify down the road for flooding. And you could also have different departments loaded into the system. Code Red gives you guys the ability to communicate information to staff members as well. So the county board could be a contact group in the system. Any police department, the sheriff's office, emergency management personnel, or now you could also use Code Red as a paging application to get information to staff very rapidly. So we're going to customize these scenarios during the setup and implementation process, and you guys are going to be using these a lot when you need to send out notifications. For this example, we're going to say we want to send a notification out to the city of Waupaca, and we already have a message that we recorded to send to this audience, which is a citywide call. All we now do is click on launch, and we're going to enter our launch code. And we're going to click the Launch Now button. And if your cell phone happens to ring, just answer it and say hello like you normally would. And we're going to send that notification out. And just through that simple process of selecting Waupaca entering a 5-digit launch code, we have now just sent a message to everybody in the city of Waupaca. So think of an emergency where you need to notify residents. That's the very step-by-step process.
Check quick. Hello?
Now.
Hit any key in.
This is Brian Shoika doing a test of the Code Red system. This is only a test, no actions required. Again, this is a test.
And that's how quickly those notifications get sent. You enter that launch code and those messages get sent out immediately to the public at the fastest rate the local network here in the county can handle at one time. And that's usually thousands of calls within minutes that are being sent out to the public. Now, your users that are utilizing the system, they're going to be able to see a detailed report now of what just happened, where you're going to see a pie chart here of the calls that were delivered live. You'll see the calls that were delivered to an answering device. You'll see any calls that went to operator intercept. So this gives a disposition of everything that just happened. You could then go in and view a detailed report where you could see line by line everybody's name, address, and telephone number that you just called. You'll see if their calls were delivered to a person live, to an answering device, or calls that did not go through. So now you guys have a hazardous material spill, let's say, and you send out an evacuation notice. You send that notification out, and you could pull up that report, see who got the call and who did not get the call. You could then print the report of those individuals that did not receive the call in walking order for your first responders that now have to go door to door and evacuate the area. So Code Red really gives you guys a way very quickly to get in here, identify your audience, and send that message to the public very quickly. There's a lot of different ways to build different scenarios inside of the system. And like I said, last time I was here, we went in depth with a lot of the different functionality inside of the system. But the one way I want to show you guys today is just any geographic call that you guys need to send. The entire database that you guys have for your Code Red system is going to be on a map of your community. And inside of your Code Red system right now for Waupaca County, we have a database of 23,812 phone numbers that are available for you guys to send notifications to today. On top of that database, you can add any data you'd like to include. This could be the County 911 database, billing databases from your local utility companies. You just have to send those files to us and we do all the database maintenance work for you guys. Lastly, we're going to provide you with a link to place on your county website and all the city websites within the county where residents and businesses can add additional phone numbers to the database. You can see right on Waupaca County's page, they have the Code Red logo here. Citizens can click here and add contact information to the database. Same thing with Portage County's page. They have the logo down here in the lower right-hand corner where citizens can click here and add additional contact information. As an additional option, citizens will be able to sign up for different weather notifications. And the way the weather warning notification system works, if you look on the box on the left-hand side, our system monitors the satellite feed from NOAA 24/7. The second the National Weather Service issues a tornado, flash flood, or severe thunderstorm warning, the system's going to automatically call those residents that subscribe to those warnings for that area that was affected. So it picks up this white polygon box here. Any resident that signed up for a tornado warning from your website is going to get an automatic call for that tornado warning the second that alert's issued. So this is going to take Andy and dispatch out of the equation of having to log into the system, identify an area where they think that tornado might go, record a message, and send it. For the weather notifications, it's automatically triggered through the satellite feed that's monitoring NOAA, and it's sent out immediately as those notifications are happening and issued. But for any geographic notification that you need to send, I mentioned we have over 23,000 telephone numbers in the database right now, and it's going to continue to grow from other sources, as well as from your residents adding contact information. So now if we need to send out a notification, we can come in here very quickly and just draw an area that we want to notify. Maybe that's the area that we need to contact. All we do is select that area, we save and close, we dial into an 800 number, record a message, and send it out. So you have a freehand tool, you have a polygon tool, just to outline an area that you want to contact. You have a circle that allows you just to drag out a circle, and same thing with a rectangle. So the system allows you to draw the area that you need to contact for that event. You could tell the system, are we calling all the records in the red, our businesses only, and our residents only. You pick and choose who in that red area you want to contact, save and close, and send that notification out very, very quickly. So the mapping interface is just one of the many different ways to send out a notification to the public. There's a lot of different feature sets that are in the system for community notification, where you can select streets throughout the county and then take it a step further and select what address ranges along those streets that you want to call and what sides of the streets that you want to call. So if you want to use the system for a snow emergency to let the residents know what streets are going to be closed when for plowing, this feature allows you to do that. For any shutoff to water service, a boil water notice that has been issued, an announcement of a construction project and a street closure, this feature will allow you to do that by systematically targeting the streets that you want to notify throughout the county. We have a lot of features in the system for internal notification, where your public health department can communicate with public health staff by sending them voice, text, and email messages. The sheriff's office can communicate with deputies. The list goes on and on. Public Works, whoever you guys give access to the system will be able to use a feature set inside of the system to send staff members voice, text, and email messages on a daily basis. So we provide you guys with the tool. We provide you guys with the telephone dialing infrastructure on the back end of the system to send these notifications out. And then it's up to you guys to draft your own policy, your own protocol as to what you want to use the system for, how you want to use it, and what constitutes an emergency or an event that you actually get into the system and send those notifications out to the public. As I mentioned earlier, we provide this service to thousands of government agencies throughout the country, 25 counties throughout the state of Wisconsin, and we're expecting several other communities throughout the state to implement the system over the next few weeks. So you're going to be seeing more and more local communities coming on board and adding this service to their emergency management plans to be able to quickly get information to their residents, their businesses, and staff members when they need to. That's really what I have for you guys here today. Andy wanted me to be short and sweet and just kind of give you guys a little overview of the system, how you guys could operate it, what you guys could use it for, a few examples. Andy, is there anything else you want to add?
We were just talking this morning about some of the things we could have just recently used it for. All the communities that had the trickle water, we could have sent that message out to them. The propane shortage. This was just, in an emergency situation, this was just used last year down in Waupaca County where they had that big SWAT standoff, where they could bring this map up quick, draw a circle around that area where the gunman was in the house, and send that message out to them. I've talked to Waupaca County quite a bit on this, and they loved the system, and they were even willing to come up today to, if you guys had any questions. But yeah.
If this would have been, and maybe it was, if this was been available for Hortonville with that tornado, would that helped or not?
No, because they didn't issue a tornado warning. Well, you know it would have, because they issued a thunderstorm warning, so those people would have been notified.
And they would have been notified immediately the second that that alert for the thunderstorm warning was issued. Now, if that thunderstorm warning happened to be changed to a tornado warning, they would have then gotten a follow-up call letting them know that the alert has been changed from severe thunderstorm to tornado to let them know that they're now under the new warning.
What about now when you do an area like that, and a lot of it's based on your physical address, but a lot of phones have GPS? Can it, if someone's in a bad area where there's a tornado coming through, could it notify them as well, as long as they have that on their phone?
Every phone number in the database is geocoded to the latitude, longitude coordinate of the address. So that's where the address, the data is going to reside for that household. Now, any resident, and this isn't just limited to your county, your surrounding counties that have Code Red, on their sign-up page, there's information about the Code Red mobile alert app. which they could download on their smartphones free of charge. What that does is that tracks the GPS location of their smartphone device. So now if you have a resident in Waupaca County that has, their community has Code Red, they're being told to download this app. If they travel to Waupaca County and you guys send out a notification, even though they're not in your database, their phone is in a nationwide database as they travel throughout the country. So they would then get any emergency alert you guys send out. There's an option that they could also have weather notifications on that app. So as they travel throughout the country, wherever that phone goes, if they're under a tornado warning, a severe thunderstorm warning, they will get that notification as they travel throughout the country.
Perfect.
Any other questions?
Isn't there a possibility that if it's as good as you say it is, that the state of Wisconsin might adopt this project and then we'll automatically be a part of it?
There's always a chance that a state could implement a mass notification system down the road. We currently provide mass notification services to 4 different states for statewide coverage. So there's always that possibility. At this time, the state does not have a system, and from what we're being told by our counties throughout the state, that there's not an immediate plan to adopt the statewide notification system. But if one happens down the road, absolutely.
And what is the cost involved?
The cost is based off the population of the community here. So for Code Red, it's an annual cost of $16,500. If you guys wanted to add the severe weather notification, we give it to you guys as a trial for the first year, $3,450. And then the renewal cost each year after that for the weather warning is $7,500.
Supervisor Craig?
How do you get your phone numbers? As an example, some people called me because I'm the treasurer for the town of Royalton for a dog license, but I don't know what their phone number is because they have a portable phone, and so I can't have a landline. There's nothing in the phone book. So how are you going to reach all of our citizens?
Right now, I mentioned the database that we already have of over 23,000 telephone numbers. That's put together from consumer activity databases, white page listings. So we really try to grab as much data as we could possibly get right now for the county. Now remember, that's just the starting point where we're going to build your overall database. You could go to your water utilities throughout the county and ask them for their water billing data to also send to us and include in the system. So now if I'm a resident inside of the county and I use a cell phone as a landline, and when I signed up for water service, I gave my water company my cell phone number, if you provide us with that data, that resident's cell phone number would be in the system that you're adding to the 23,000 phone numbers we have. And then lastly is your residents that come to this page. We really do a great job helping you guys promote the system. We give you guys press releases to put out to the local media, sample inserts that you can place in monthly water statements. We give you banners to hang at the county fair, posters to hang in county and city facilities where you can promote the system, let the residents know about what you guys have the ability to do, and direct them back to the website and encourage them to opt into the system. One of the first things we do with all new customers, and we're going to do this with you guys right off the start, is we send the entire database a test message. So 23,000 residents are going to get a test call from the system. What that test call allows you to do is it allows you to promote the system through a series of press releases. You'll put out prior to the test, we're testing our new mass notification system Thursday afternoon at 4 o'clock. To make sure you're included in this test, please visit our website and you'll direct them to the website and ask them to add their contact information. Then you do your test call, and the message that you send them will be, this is a test of our new mass notification system. If you receive this call, that means this phone number is already in our emergency database. If you'd like to add a cell phone, text, or email address, please visit this website. And then the next day, Friday morning, one last story in the local media. We had a successful test yesterday afternoon. If you did not receive a call and would like to be included in all future notifications, please visit our website, and one last time that we can provide them with the web address.
Do you have something other than a website? Because I know a lot of older people that don't do computers.
Yep, absolutely. You guys, as a county, will create an alternate place or location or multiple locations, where in the press releases and the announcements, you're directing them to a physical location. So you might say, if you have internet access, please visit the county website here, or you could visit your local city hall or your local library or the county sheriff's office, where now they come into that facility, they could go to the receptionist desk, and the receptionist could pull up this website here and provide the receptionist with their call details to be able to be inputted right into the system. You're welcome.
The nice part about this system is we would control the system, but we could have multiple administrators, like each city could buy into it, school districts can buy into it and use it, so we'd be looking for some cost sharing once we did get something like this implemented.
Mr. Jonley?
I got a question. You got this database website and everything. Are hackers going to be able to get into that? Is Big Brother going to be able to watch every move?
No, there's no hackers. Everything's protected in our system. Our data centers are at 3 different geographic locations. That's very secure. And in the service agreement that you guys sign as part of it is data confidentiality. We don't release that data to anybody. It's 100% confidential. It resides on our servers only, and it's exempt from any public records requests that are submitted. So the data is 100% confidential, and you're using it for emergency notification, so it has to be 100% confidential.
Just another question. So if you said if the school districts buy into it, I realize we had a lot of snowstorms, I believe, this last winter, and I know they put them on the TV. So what you're saying is each school system could program a short sentence, and it could be sent to every parent by telephone that would ring or something?
Yes,
They,
sir.
they wouldn't have access to our database. They would build their own database with their parents and students.
So everything that you saw here today, the map, the scenarios with the cities, when the school district logs in, they won't necessarily see that because we would restrict their user account and access code to only their school district data. So they would then have a listing of the different parent groups that are loaded into the system, and then they could, for school closure or a 2-hour delay, whatever the event is, they'll be able to, like you said, record the sentence and send it out to every parent.
I can say for a fact the Iola Scandinavia School District has this type of system, and we get it for when the snow days were, or if they're letting the kids out of school early. I get an email, I get a phone call, on both my cell and my hand. Plus, I even get a text. So it's really amazing.
Well, Leonard also has a system like this. What they would be interested in looking at this once we get it going.
Any other questions? Mrs. Boyer?
This also could be used for Amber Alerts when a child is missing?
Yes, absolutely. That's a very common use of the system. And we also provide a nationwide missing children notification solution to a nonprofit organization a child is missing. So they send out calls daily throughout the country for missing children. So absolutely, if you have a missing child in the county, you could go in and type in the address where the child was last seen. You could indicate a mile radius around that address of how far that child could have traveled in the time they were missing. Record a message with a description of the child, what they were wearing, where they were last seen, and who to contact if you have any information for that missing child.
Sheriff Brad?
I just want to make a comment. You know, we've had really a lot of cases or calls that we could have used a system like this for. It would be huge for us. Just for example, anytime we have a SWAT call, we usually evacuate a certain area around that area where the SWAT call is, and we have to do it by sending people to each house and doing it physically in person. It'd be so much freeing up manpower to be able to just do this notification by this code red. Calls where, you know, we have a situation going on. For example, I look at that Highway 10, that one Wednesday where we had 70-some accidents on Highway 10. I mean, we could have sent out a notification saying, you know, Highway 10 is very ice covered. Please use caution or don't use the, you know, stay home. I mean, there's been so many cases we could use this for. It would be huge, and even for minor everyday things like we talked about, we could get together a staff call out where we could call patrol or corrections or dispatch and put out notices for things. I mean, it would really be beneficial for us too also, so we're really supportive of it.
Brian, and maybe I missed it. How many counties around us are participating?
Well, we have 25 counties in the state, and we provide service to Waupaca County, Portage County, Marathon County, Menominee County, Oconto County, and Brown County. Just a few examples of local communities here physically located around you guys. But 25 counties throughout the state, thousands of government agencies nationwide.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
There's a few systems out there like Code Red, but with the investigations that we've done and the users that we've talked to, everything led us right back to Code Red.
You said you had some ideas about possibly funding this program. What might they be?
We could do some cost sharing. You know, if the city of Waupaca wanted to get into it for use with their DPW or something, school districts, if they wanted to opt in and do some cost share.
Any other questions?
This would be kind of a duplication for a lot of those school districts that have it in place now, right?
Yeah, but we may be able to do it for less expensive, because we're sharing it
Yeah,
through
they
the whole
could-
county.
They could make that current system and join in with it.
Right.
I think it's cheap. We should do it.
Not to change the subject, but before you take that down, note the Welcome to Waupaca County sign. I passed that sign many times now since I travel west, and it's rather large and beautiful sign. I wanted to take a photo of it and think that someday down the road, I hope we have some funds to improve our Welcome to Waupaca County sign. That's a beautiful sign. There's another county I go through that has a similar attractive sign. So it did more than one purpose. Thank you. Anything else?
Maybe if you decide to go that route, we could put at the bottom that we have a cell phone ordinance in Waupaca County.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. Great presentation. Yes. As Wausau just put in. Well, next we're going to have Mary Kay Pullman come forth. She was at NACO in Washington, and the weather was beautiful out there. She said the cherry blossoms were, and we only had about 3 feet of snow, did you not? So tell us about what's happening at NACO.
This working? Yes, it is. I flew out to DC on the 28th of February and returned on the 6th of March. During that time, the main thing at the conference was policy briefs that we presented to our congressmen and senators at the Capitol. We had workshops of various types. Myself, David Collender, he's the Government Affairs Associate for Waupaca, our Wisconsin Counties Association. Marty Krieger, the Wisconsin County Association President. Greg Moore, he's the Eau Claire County Board Chairman. We met with Senator Baldwin's legislative aide, Joel, and he's been with her for several years when she was a congresswoman as well. And I was able to meet with Congressman Ribble and one of his legislative fellows, Jeffrey. With Congressman Ribble, we met in a closet, per se, one of his meeting rooms. Oh. It was very small. And with Senator Baldwin, she could not get back into Washington, D.C. due to the weather. We got 5 inches of snow. Shut the city down. It was quite interesting. But we did present them with policy briefs, reauthorization for the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families block grant, which is now under fire under President Obama's budget, the Social Services Block Grant, or SSBG, and that under the President's budget at this time is looking much better. that it should be restored to its authorization level of $1.7 billion. We also requested that they support the fund for the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration and provide increased and long-term funding for America's transportation infrastructure. And when Congressman Ribble asked me how I felt about the transportation budget and where it should be focused, I suggested, Dean, that he give it all to Waupaca County. Of course, we discussed other things with that regard. But it was probably one of the best conferences I've ever been at. We had many, many meetings, subcommittee meetings, regular committee meetings on Human Services, which was the committee I'm on, Human Services and Education. Other than the weather not being so good, a couple days, there were days when it was close to 60. I got to see all of the memorials, which is quite nice, but I wish I'd had my tennis shoes on that day. It is a long distance from the Capitol back to Washington Hilton. Hopefully the next time if I get to go, the hotel's closer. They are very expensive with their cab service. Some of them take you out of the way. Some of them take you directly to where you want to go. I did find a bunch of really good restaurants throughout the city. My stepdaughter is now living out there. She's working for Save the Children. She had been working for UNICEF for 15 years and has been out of the country, either in Africa or India. But now she's based in DC, which is kind of nice, so maybe we'll get to see her more often. And she does have a 18-month-old who speaks 4 languages, by the way. My stepdaughter is fluent in French, English, of course, some different areas in the African languages, because she was in all different parts of that country. And her dad is from India, so she can speak that as well as, I don't know how many other dialects of that, but she speaks quite well. She was speaking to me in French, didn't understand a word, looked at her dad and go, is she mumbling or is she speaking to me in French? And she was reminded to talk to Grandma in English. So other than family and the conference, NACO is doing a wonderful job in fighting for us, just like Wisconsin Counties Association. And that's about it. I had a great time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Kay. Just 2 years ago, I was out there, and it was so warm, and there were actually cherry blossoms at the time. I was kidding her. Now they had all that snow. And of course, I was texted yesterday. 2 years ago, yesterday, the Clintonville Golf Course opened up, and they were out golfing. So maybe another week we can do that, huh? Next, we're going to have Solid Waste Recycling Board updates. However, Mr. McClone would like to speak. Would you like your Roger to go first? Okay.
Out of the way. Just so you know, an important thing, the river is still frozen, very frozen. And we've had everybody every day coming in buying their boat passes, and they keep asking us to give us an update. And I don't know, Bob, is it opening up near you? No. So your golfing's not going to happen in a week. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. Every year I like to get in here and talk to you about our programs that we offer, and this is the best time of year to come in here. We offer answers to almost every solid waste, recycling, medical waste, and burning that people have. The information's on your desk. There's a lot of information there, but it's really good information. It does tell you how to take care of different things, where you can go with things, what you need to do to process, what you can and can't do, and that's probably one of the biggest questions we usually get. If you take a look at the burning newsletter, and this has been out for a number of years, we update it every year. This is an excellent document. It's a cooperative effort between our department and the DNR. Hartman Creek State Park, the forester out there, Tim Banachek and Debbie work on this. This gives people in the rural area information about burning. And we do get a lot of questions on what they need to do in order to burn, when they can burn, how they can burn, those type of things. Well, we put it in this handout and we don't get as many questions. Yeah, one of the big things this time of the year is people ask us, do they need a permit? Well, technically, if there's snow on the ground, you don't need a permit between January and June 1. But I would encourage people to go ahead and proceed and get a permit, so when the time comes when they need it, they'll have it. And it's really simple. It tells you right in here. You just go online or you call and you can set things up. Plus, you can check daily whether or not you can burn on that day. The other big question is, what can I burn? It's pretty limited. In there, you can burn brush, leaves, clean wood, that's untreated wood, and thanks to Pat Craig, confidential papers. I say that because she had us change our ordinance a couple years ago so we could burn all her confidential papers out there. And that's important. People need to know what they can and can't burn. You cannot burn garbage. You cannot burn other waste. You cannot burn tires. You cannot burn plastics. You basically can't burn anything except what I rattled off there. If you're burning those other items, we'll send somebody out there and we'll remind you either with a citation or a warning that that's what you cannot do. And I will have to say that area has been very beneficial to us. The Sheriff's Department and the DNR wardens have worked close in hand with us, and the fire departments, and we've been able to nip a lot of potential burns before they get there, and that's helped a lot. I've offended a few people, sent letters out ahead of time warning them not to burn because they may have something in their pile that they can't burn, but I'll tell you, I'd rather offend them than have them get a citation later. So we do try to follow up on that. But this is a good document, well put together, a lot of good information in it. You also have our yellow flyer, which comes out every year. And the yellow flyer has got all of our special programs that we run. The medication program is a very popular program. And again, working with law enforcement, we've been very lucky to be able to locate permanent collection boxes. The Sheriff's Department stepped up years ago, has worked with us for years on this. And if some of you have ever been in the front end of the law enforcement center, there is a mailbox sitting there that collects these drugs, medications, so people can get rid of them in a proper manner. And I do know that the Sheriff's Department was amazed at how often they have to empty that box. The public does utilize these boxes throughout the county. They're located in Clintonville, New London, Waupaca, and Waupaca at the Sheriff's Department. And then we do have a one-day program still that's offered, and that's coming up April 26th. And that gives people a chance who don't want to go in to come in and quickly get rid of their stuff in that one-day program. We have found out that some people are afraid to go to the police departments and sheriff's departments to get rid of their drugs and medications. I'm not so sure why. I guess they think that something's going to happen to them, but it's really, they don't have a clue who brings what in there, so it's really not a big deal. Tire roundup, running that again. Reduce rate, get a lot of tires. I just don't know where they come from. I don't know why people take tires home, but they do. And they must think they've got some value in them, and eventually we end up getting them. We still collect a lot of tires. We do run our appliance roundup in the fall. That again is popular. The strange part about this is I'll have somebody call me up and say, where can I get rid of an appliance? And I'll tell them the processing facility up there is available Monday through Friday, 7 to 3, Saturday 7 to 11, 7 to 1 in the summer. And it's a $10 charge. I said, well, but if you want to wait till October, it'll be an $8 charge. And you know what? They will wait until October to save $2. So it's up to the people when they get out there. Compost bins are for sale again. Electronic program is very popular, running. We're able to take care of most electronics. There is a fee based on that, based on our disposal costs. And then, of course, our oil filter program's been out there. On the back side is our household hazardous waste program. We work in cooperation with Waupaca County and offer the program. We run from May through October, and it's by appointment only. We have 3 staff who are certified, and they have to be available in order to handle the hazardous waste. I can't take the hazardous waste. I'm not certified, but those 3 staff can, so we do it by appointment. And again, this is at a reduced rate because we do get a grant from the state, and that helps us keep our costs down. Otherwise, it would probably be double what you see on here. If you got questions on that, just get a hold of me. And the last thing in here is the PTF flyer. Here's all your answers. All you gotta do is look in here, and if you don't find the answer, then call us or look at our webpage. we can give answers to almost everything out there. I think the only items we have trouble with is smoke detectors and other similar type items like that. We even can find answers for ammunition. We send them over to the Sheriff's Department. We can find answers for dynamite. We definitely send them over to the Sheriff's Department. We can find answers for this stuff. But there are some items out there that are a little gray area that we work on. But we're trying to get to that point where we can give 100% answers on everything. Some will cost, some will be free. Some you'll get something in exchange. It's just a matter of what you're trying to get rid of. So that's our program. Again, the processing facility is open Monday through Friday, 7 to 3. Saturday from 7 to 11, 7 to 1 in the summer. And we got all sorts of good things going on. If you got questions, feel free to stop in or, again, look at the webpage or give us a call.
Any questions for Roger?
Has every school in our county adopted a carton policy?
No. That program actually goes up and down based on the markets. I'm not aware of any school right now that has it, to tell you the truth. There used to be one in the middle school here in Waupaca, but I don't think that program is running now. And part of it is just lack of market, but I'm not aware of any of the school districts right now. They might be doing it, Jack. I just am not aware of it.
Roger,
Isn't that something we should be pushing for?
We have discussed it and we have worked with them. We're just trying to get a lot of these schools just to get back into their recycling programs. It's an up and down, depending on who's in charge at any given moment. What's funny is we've followed some of our schools when they recycle. Teachers and students do a really diligent job. Then the maintenance staff comes through and throws it all together into one bin and puts it back out back. Well, they're not supposed to do that, but that's what happens until you train people the right way. So it seems like we have to go back after it and talk to them about every 3 or 4 years to get them back up to speed. Joyce.
I volunteer at the kindergarten, and I brought that up after the convention, and no, they don't recycle.
Again, it's lack of market and trying to find a good market for them. And it also depends what kind of containers they're using too. They have different types of milk containers that they use based on the school.
Anybody else? Thank you very much, Roger.
Thanks.
Mr. McClone.
Not going to be as long-winded as Roger. Speaking of schools, when I left Waupaca Middle School in 2005, we had the green team. We recycled all our milk cartons, all our excess paper. Instead of shredding, went to a farmer. We religiously picked it up every week and used it for bedding. I'm not responsible for what happens there now. But our green team was composed of students, and they were advocates to no end, and it was fantastic. So going forward, speaking of green things, and we have to include New London in this because it's green over there big time this week. I was at a worm conference. I didn't go all the way to Washington, D.C. But it was in Green Bay, and it was wonderful, and my best buddy couldn't make it because he got sick, and he's chairman of the Solid Waste Committee, Mr. Sorensen. So I'm here representing that group a little bit. Many of the people were there, and I'm not going to go into names because I know I'll forget someone. The neatest thing about this conference is I became aware of a green incentive program, Better Environment, Better Business, which I knew nothing about. And this is small businesses, mid-sized businesses, large businesses throughout our county and throughout the state that volunteer to participate in green efforts. And in this effort, in this program, there are 9 categories that they evaluate themselves on, and then they apply to the state to see how they rank. I'm not going to give you all 9, but some of the areas that they evaluate themselves on is like energy, water, waste management. Goes on to 9. They can receive an award from the state. It doesn't cost them anything. Top of the line is Green Masters program. Middle of the road is a Green Professional program. And the third award they can get is a Green Apprentice program. And they can continue each year and upgrade and find out how to become better. The reason I'm talking to you about that is there was a firm from Wausau, and I forgot the name of it, and they used the same gallon of water 8 times when they were doing their processes in their plant. Some large corporations that you know about that are highly involved in this is Myron Construction. You all know Myron's around here. They're very much in the green team effort. Oshkosh Stores, Johnson Controls, Orion Energy. when you think about that, we want to become more green. Right now, we're in the future of recycling. We have 4 meetings scheduled in the next several months. Mike Colas is leading us. We're bringing in people from each township, people from each village, people from each city in Waupaca County to see our future in recycling. And it's because we don't have near the money coming in anymore. It's not a good thing. So where it's going to go, I don't know. The final and probably the main reason I'm here is we have this economic development loan fund program. And I've never heard of us ever saying to these people when they come in for money, maybe they should be looking at some of these programs that are volunteer at the state level. You know, I have no problem saying, hey, we're going to help approve their loan. And I'm sure, like, I think it was utility, tool, and body, wasn't it, last week, Dick? Wasn't it utility? You know, they may be not even aware of this program. And so I guess, hopefully in the future, when people come in, we can make people come aware of these things so that they, in the future, probably would get involved in making sure their business is greener than just showing up and getting the loan. So with this in mind, I welcome anyone that wants to come to our meetings. Our first one is 4 o'clock at our center over by Manawa, the recycling center. And like I said, there's going to be a lot of people coming there from the different townships. And we're going to have 4 meetings in a row to try to determine what we will do in the future for recycling in Waupaca County, and it'll probably go on to the state level at some point. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Next, we have my report. It's going to be brief. I'm going to beg that I can stay up here. I didn't take Dennis Klissman's advice and get my hip and back taken care of. I can't make those steps right now. The doctor said I couldn't be back to work in a week, so I said, the heck with you then, and I'm gotta make a choice here pretty soon, don't I, Dennis? Okay.
Maybe now or maybe later.
Yeah. I did go past Pat Craig's today, and you must have had a lot of confidential paper because there is a lot of smoke coming back here.
Was the burning barrel.
Just briefly update to let you know where we're at with the retreat we had last September 9th and 10th. Some of you have asked, where's that going? How come we haven't done anything? Well, we're going to be doing something very quickly here. You know, we haven't forgotten. It's just that you all know we've had a lot of things going on in this county in the last 6 months. Usually the beginning of the year is really quiet and we get a lot done, but we just had a lot of stuff going on. If you recall, we identified a half a dozen priority questions that are of strategic importance to our Waupaca County. Mike Colas and I met last week to discuss potential ways we can move forward, and we'll continue that discussion in the coming weeks. At this point, I've decided that we will have 5 or 6 teams address the 6 priority strategic questions. Some teams will be made up of department heads, some will include department heads and supervisors, and some will include department heads, supervisors, and I'd like some members of the public to be involved too. I would like to have each team chaired by a department head. And each team will periodically report to the executive committee, probably quarterly, which really we're supposed to meet regularly anyhow, and that would be a nice item for our quarterly exec meeting. And Mike and I are going to get together and soon, and we'll present the plan that we have together no later than the May County Board meeting. April's a busy month, as you know, again, but let's attack that in May, at the May meeting. So that's all I have with my report. Next, we have ordinances or amendments to the General Code of Ordinance, Chapter 704, Speed Restriction, County Highway B.
Now therefore be it resolved that Waupaca County Board of Supervisors do hereby ordain as follows. Number 1, 25 miles per hour from State Highway 22 in the city of Manawa south to a point 206 feet, 0.390 miles, east of the new Howard Street intersection. 2, 35 miles per hour from a point 206 foot east of the new Howard Street intersection to a point 0.580 miles, and east and south 200 foot south of the center of the Canadian National Railroad. This ordinance shall be effective upon erection of standard signs, giving notice thereof upon completion of the County Trunk Highway B reconstruction.
There's a motion by Mr. Donnelly and a second by Mr. Fleece. Any questions or discussion? Please vote.
Last chance to vote. Motion carries 23 to 0 to enact the ordinance.
Well, item B, I'm going to have Jed Wolt come up and talk about this. I will read it here. Chapter 10.08, regulating restaurants, hotels, motels, and tourist rooming houses, bed and breakfast establishments, vending of food facilities, public swimming pools, recreational and education campgrounds, tattoo and body piercing establishments, and manufactured home parks. Come on up, Jed.
Basically, these are just all language updates for that section of the code. Just updating things like changing names from mobile home park to manufactured home community. Some of the state codes have been updated. It's no longer Department of Commerce. It's now Department of Safety and Professional Service, and the numbers changed. So that's what the majority, or all of them really are, just language updates.
You might, to some of us, tell us exactly what your job involves and what you do.
I'm the environmental health manager. We license and inspect a lot of the facilities in the county: restaurants, hotels, motels, campgrounds, public swimming pools, manufactured home communities, and along with some environmental health nuisance type things is basically what we do.
Any questions for him? Supervisor Craig.
I had some concerns with some things that weren't changed that should have been, if Mary wants to read those.
Yes, she's preparing right now.
Yeah, on page number 6, it's just a language change, and it's under B3. They just forgot to put in that the Waupaca County was added, but the Department of Health and Human Services rather than Family Service, because it's Waupaca County. Before it was probably for the state office. And then another one was on page 12 under public swimming pools and water attractions. That water attractions was added. And so also on that first paragraph where it says no person, party, firm, or corporation shall operate a public swimming pool or water attraction should probably be added in there since it's also in the title. And then on page 13, no person, party, firm, or corporation shall operate a manufactured home park, home communities. It just is following through with the title that was changed, and it just needed to be followed through onto that paragraph. I believe that was the ones that we found. Otherwise, everywhere in your document that there's a little slash, something was changed.
Supervisor Gerald Murphy.
Jed, on page 9, page 9, point G, and subsection 1 of that point G. Could you explain the inspection in regards to the at least 40 hours and where? I read that over several times and I wondered about some of the ones that might not fall within at least 40 hours.
Which section was that again? Sorry.
It was on page 9, section G, subpoint 1. Maybe if you just explain to me the procedure as far as determination of inspections
the termination of inspections for a licensed facility. Basically, if they're required to get a license, we're obligated to do an inspection for all these facilities at least once a year, and it can be done during any regular business hours.
I guess, Jed, the term at least 40 hours per week.
I'm not sure about that, to tell you the truth. Sanitary.
Perhaps
It could be something from state code. I'm not exactly sure what the
perhaps
40 hours.
in the future you could get back to me on
Sure,
that.
I can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? I believe we need a motion. Motion by Supervisor Chrisman and second by Supervisor Fedowitz. Any other-
With the changes.
Yes, okay, I'm sorry, with the changes. Any other questions? Please vote.
Last chance to vote. Motion carries 23-0.
With that, we'll take a short break. Okay, let us resume now with number 10 resolutions. Resolution number 3913-14, outdoor recreation aids, / Park and Rec Committee.
Therefore, be it resolved, the Waupaca County apply for funds under Section 23.9, Paren 26, and Section 23.33 of the Wisconsin Stats for such eligible maintenance, acquisition, insurance, rehabilitation, and/or development costs, and hereby authorizes Roger G. Holman, Director of Waupaca County Department of Environmental Resource Management, to act on behalf of Waupaca County to submit an application to the State of Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources for any financial aid that may be available, sign documents, and take necessary action to undertake, direct, and complete the approved projects. Recommended for introduction by Waupaca County Parks and Recreation, Legislative, Judicial, Ethics, Safety, Security Committees.
Looking for a motion for approval. There's a motion by Supervisor Lee Muck and a second by Supervisor McClone. Any discussion on that particular resolution? Seeing none, please vote.
Last chance to vote. Motion carries 23-0.
Next is resolution number 40-13-14 and resolution number 41. Oh, that's going to be discussed at a special meeting on April 4th. Excuse me. Resolution number 42, 13-14, Waupaca County seasonal employee wages.
Mandy wants to talk about it.
Human Resource, Mandy Welch, did you want to come to the podium and speak about that? Explain what we're going to be voting on?
Good morning. Just real quickly, it has been since 2001 that we've updated our resolution on seasonal employee wages. And with the discussion on the federal level of changing the minimum wage to around that $10 mark, and then also we surveyed the counties around us as far as what their rates of pay are for seasonal employees that come in. And again, it's right around that $10 mark, and they up everybody by about 50 cents if they come back year after year. So we've sort of followed that logic when setting up this structure for our seasonal employees. We have about 15 countywide that come in and work during the summer in different departments, mostly at the highway department and the parks department. Clyde has somebody that does come in and help with taxes during the busy time in the summer. But those are the majority of our seasonal employees that we have.
Is there a motion for approval? There's a motion by Supervisor Craig, second by Supervisor Fedowitz. Any discussion? Please vote.
Last chance to vote. Motion carries 23-0.
Resolution number 43, 13-14, Sheriff, Clerk of Courts and Coroner, elected official wages for 2015 through 2018. Yeah. Well, maybe instead of her reading, you can just explain what we've done here.
Sure. We're coming up on the time for elected officials to take out papers, and so you have to set the salaries for elected officials for the next 4-year term, so 2015 through 2018. And so we had taken a look at some comparables. We had taken a look at internal comparables as far as positions that were in comparison. And the Human Resource Committee, along with the Finance Committee, set the wages as established in that resolution. And I'd be happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Supervisor Craig.
Move to dispense with the reading of the resolution and adopt it.
There's a motion by Craig to dispense with the reading and adopt the resolution, a second by Mr. Zog. Any questions or discussion? Please vote.
Last chance to vote. Motion carries 23-0.
Resolution number 44, 13-14, contingency fund year-end transfers. Finance Director, would you like to come forth and explain?
Resolution is if you remember during the budget process, we usually set aside some contingency fund for unforeseen circumstances. And then at the end of the year, that contingency fund is closed out within programs that were had unanticipated expenses throughout the year, or just overall, we go through the budget process. It's not anything that's real, how do you say, the process is pretty generic. I go through and I find the programs that have budgeted expenditures over what, or actual expenditures over what we budgeted, and I begin to close out the contingency until it's gone. Most of these items in the Family Court Commissioner, $282 was in their telephone account. In the Finance Department, we have this, what we call the sundry unclassified. When we have a loss on a sale of a tax deed, that's where these funds are put into, and that was a $30,000 loss on tax deeds that were sold in 2013. We also have the animal abuse cases that I'm tracking in this department, and that was $37,448 of expenditures. Those cases, in both these cases, these were not even budgeted expenditures. In the Human Resources Department, a lot of employee turnover. With new hire testing, that was over $19,361, and then in the Sheriff's Department, in the overtime area, about $164,577 with their investigation cases, for a total of the closeout of the contingency of $251,739. And it's a budget amendment. It's more of a budget process. That's what this resolution is for.
You have a question? You're making a motion, Jerry?
Move to approve.
Gerald. There's a motion to approve by Gerald Murphy and a second by Fred Zog. Any questions or discussion?
I have a question.
Yes, Supervisor Boyer.
In Melissa Drew's letter about Lakeview Manor, now forgive me, I'm kind of new on this, but where she said they have a fund balance of $1.3 million, does that get transferred into the general?
No, it does not. We've gone through this numerous times. Of the $1.3 million of fund balance, not all of that is a liquid. Their fund balance is made up of capital assets and cash. So of that amount, all of it could not be transferred anyway because it's not liquid. The remaining portion that is liquid, we've talked about that with the auditors. We've talked about it at the Finance Committee level. At this time, we are not requesting any of those funds back for their overages.
Other questions? Please vote.
Last chance to vote. Motion carries 23-0.
appointments, Mary, or announcements and correspondence?
No appointments, and the list of correspondence is on your agenda.
Just a reminder that our special meeting on the bond projects is Friday, April 4th at 10 a.m. Mr. Jonley?
Does that replace the March 28th one? that we
Yes,
had
it
to
does.
email in?
With that,
Mr. Chairman, we should probably recognize the Waupaca County SWAT team. They were the team of the year.
very good. Thank you. With that, Mr. Asen made a motion for adjournment of this morning's session. The second by Mr. Questman. Please vote.
Last chance to vote. Motion carries 23 to 0. Meeting is adjourned.
I appreciate that, Joyce. I mean,